But it was very interesting with this tool because what the tool was doing was scanning for anything that popped up, right? Whatever it could be, profanity, anything that didn't align with the company's goals. It was actually for a faith-based organization that worked closely with churches. So they wanted to make sure that whoever they were hiring fit with the brand. Now, these third-party apps don't even really need permission because everything on the internet, whether you're private, have a private account or a public account, it's all fair game, right? So your employees or your future employer, as well as universities, can search your profile and look into some of your private databases that are unavailable to the public. So it's really important to be careful. I'm sure we all know about this story. This happened, I believe, a little over a year ago, right? And this young lady was walking her dog in New York City, and this young man actually videotaped it. So there definitely was some racial bias here. And this young lady actually lost her job and she lost her dog. So it's really important to know that a lot of things on social media will go viral, right? So just like you have to compose yourself in public because you're representing either yourself, your family name, or your employer, you definitely want to make sure you do the same thing on social media. I'm going to take a little peek into the chat. Oh, I don't think it'll pop up right now for me. Oh yeah, it's not going to pop up while I'm sharing. So let me stop sharing really quick and look at the chat. Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, somebody said that adding a message before sending an invite is a great idea. Okay, I just wanted to make sure there was no questions that I was missing.
Yeah.
All right.
Karlene, a little bit further down in Mark's message, he did point out that with the iOS app, you don't get the opportunity to add a message before you send the invite. And so that's important to remember because if people are looking for messages when they receive your invitation, wait until you get onto the computer to send that invitation. Don't do it over the iOS app.
Yes, no, that's a great point for sure. Thank you, Mark, for sure. A lot of, I know I mentioned the LinkedIn stories on the app, but a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is particularly in the desktop version because it does offer some of the best capabilities when finding your new opportunities and personalizing your brand. Now, with the app, I personally only check it for updates. So whether it's messages coming into me or if there's new connections that I do have coming up, that's when I kind of just take a glance at it. But before I take any action, no pun intended, I go onto the desktop version. But no, thank you, Mark. Okay, share. All right, perfect. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick, some quick stats here. So it's, and these are in my speaker notes too that I'll share with you guys where the sources are from these. But about 51% of hiring managers actually say that they look at social media to see if the candidate will be a good fit in the corporate culture. And then 45% of potential hires do scan the social media channels. And 44% of hiring managers want to see that a candidate is creative. So we're going to take a deeper dive into those when we go on to, at least especially the last one, when we go on to the LinkedIn channel. But what are the top 3 things that you need to kind of have on your profile? I would say 1, have your full name, for sure, your first and last name. This is an older screenshot, but I do notice some folks now putting the pronouns, the gender pronouns, which I do think are important. The she, the her, the they, the his, mainly because when people are searching, sometimes you will get, like I have a good friend, her first and last name they're uncommon, but if you were to see it on a resume, you would think it's a male, right, versus a female. So she has the pronouns on there. So That's one thing I do want to point out. And then you want to have a eye-catching headline. So what's important with LinkedIn Recruiter, which is it's a different platform of LinkedIn. The recruiters who have this access to that side of LinkedIn do search in keywords, right? And when they do search in the keywords, you want to make sure that they kind of come up in your headline. So a little snippet of what you do. I love this one because he says, social media strategist helping business experience growth and profits through effective use of social media. Perfect. So you know that he works at businesses, he does social media, he's a strategist, and he's all about either growth or profit tactics, right? Then you want a nice professional headshot. I did have a question come up one time in a presentation similar to this, and someone said, you know, what if you don't have a professional headshot? My recommendation is to find either the youngest person in your household or even your next door neighbor. Take a picture either next to a tree or even a plain background. I've seen a really nice one with someone behind their garage door because it was like a plain background, and they use it as a LinkedIn picture. But if you can get the professional headshot, I definitely would recommend that. But there is alternatives to that as well. Just don't post a selfie. Make sure that someone takes a picture of you with a nice solid background. And then the next thing I want to talk about is being the subject matter expert in what you do. So it's really cool. Actually, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see here. So there is something on LinkedIn for articles or blogs, I like to call it, or you have your posts. So I get a lot of questions when some folks are like, hey, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't know what to post. What should I at least share on LinkedIn? If you follow different resources, like for myself, I follow Adweek. I have their subscription. There's Hootsuite, which is pretty known in the social media space. If you follow a lot of their newsletters, they're going to show you some blogs or some articles you can post, right? You can share those particularly on LinkedIn. Or if you have your own website or even a medium.com and you post your own blog, you can share that directly onto LinkedIn. So it's really important to kind of position yourself when you're looking for that next opportunity, or even if you're currently in the opportunity that you want, to showcase that, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm the subject matter expert in this, and get some eyeballs on you. Okay, so I'm going, let me just open up my LinkedIn, make sure I have it up. Okay. And does anyone have any questions? I know it's a small group today, so feel free to either put it in the chat or take yourself off of mute and interrupt me at any time.
Thanks, Karlene.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to use my LinkedIn profile as an example. So when you first logged into LinkedIn, I do want to point out, I have the free version of LinkedIn. I did want to mention that. There is a premium version that is, they have a monthly fee for it, and there is a free version. I've always been on the free version. So fun fact, I've been on LinkedIn since I was in college. I actually took an advertising class, and we had to build a LinkedIn and a Twitter profile. And I love that our professor at the time made us do that, because I was just building connection as time went on. I found my first internship through LinkedIn back in 2012. So if you're not on LinkedIn yet, I highly recommend you get on it and start building your profile, building your connections. So let's take a look at the interface first, right? So as you see, when I first go on, a lot of what you see is going to be social media related, which is pretty cool. Now, something that you'll see on the left-hand side over here is some of the recent hashtags that are popping up for me. And then some of these are actually groups as well. you'll see there's a little icon. These are supposed to be 3 people. Over here, the hashtag means the hashtag, and then the calendar is a event that I was invited to. So I kind of go through these in the morning and just see what folks are saying. And then I kind of take a look at my groups that I'm a part of and click throughout here and see if there's any new opportunities within those groups that I may be interested in. So these are going into, and here we'll click on social media. So as you can see, I'm following it. It has a lot of followers on this hashtag, a little over 19 million. And I'll kind of go through here and see what folks are saying. So it's important to use hashtags on LinkedIn. The reason why is because you're going to be associated with a campaign or a group of folks. So you can use, I believe, up to 20. Yeah, I believe it's up to 20 hashtags in here. But I always recommend just try to use the ones that speak to the post the most, between 3 to 5. You know, his looks like it's all about SEO. So I would probably focus on the SEO part of it on these hashtags, but he added a few more. I'm sorry, she added a few more. And you guys can do this for anything. So whether it's the IT profession, if it's some of those CISO positions you're looking for, or a VP of either IT or security, you can do a hashtag for pretty much anything. Okay. Now I also wanted to show you guys, going back to my feed, going back to home here, you can also filter these out by your top or by your recent. So the recent ones are just going to be the ones that people have shared recently that haven't really picked up much traction. And the top ones are the ones that have picked up traction. So those are ones that can be, let's go back to top. I've seen some that have been about 2 weeks time passed after promoting it. We have a few 14 minutes. I've seen one before when I went down that was a little, I wouldn't say dated, but at least a few days old. And it just picked up a lot of traction from people liking it. And this is another feature that I love for recommended jobs here. You can click around and see, and these are attracted to my profile, right? Because I'm a social media and digital marketing expert. I'm also going to show you how to plug in some of those keywords to your profile so you can attract that job opportunity. And then the functionalities at the top, we should all be familiar with: connecting people to your network. So these are any connection requests that you have. Please, if you haven't done so already, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a request, use some of those tactics I'm talking about, send a nice intro note to me. Hey, I heard you at the Tech Hub, Take Action fair today. Would love to connect. Send something, just test it out, and we'll start building our connections together. I also love the LinkedIn news over here. Twitter has something very similar with what's trending in the market, so I love those. And then this is actually pretty new, viewed courses. So there's some folks that have courses on here that I may be interested in as well. And then of course you have your jobs. So you can come in here and search for the particular job you're looking for, whether it's remote or in the state that you reside in, and then definitely put some of those keywords in here. You'll see, actually, I got a few alerts already popping up for some of these key searches that I've been looking for. And then your messages, I'm not going to go to messages right now, but I will eventually at the end of this, because I want to show you guys how there is some folks that do reach out to you. And then you have your notifications. But let me go to the profile. So we're going to go view my profile. I wanted to actually show you guys something that I do every time I do look for someone that has a public profile before I connect with them. I usually go to the recent activity down here. And then I like to see what they have been posting or what have they liked. This is really cool to see if the person that you're connecting with kind of has some credibility there on LinkedIn. I've seen some folks that are, I hate to call it this, but spam accounts that reach out to me. And the first thing I do is look at their activity and see what's the last thing they posted. Sometimes I've seen things that are about 2 years ago. So I'm really cautious with taking the next step to either connect with that person because sometimes they will send spammy DMs to you. It's very similar to how our phones ring all the time when there's a spam call. People are using LinkedIn for that as well. So you'll see that these are all the posts that I've shared in the last few weeks. And then all the activity. I don't have any articles or documents right now. Documents would be PDFs, and then articles would be kind of those blog posts. But these are anything that I've liked. So if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, you'll see some of these possibly in your newsfeed when you're scrolling down. So you may not be connected with these folks, but you'll see that either I liked, comment, or share it on here. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. All right, so one big step for your guys' homework is going to be logging into your LinkedIn profile and seeing if it is complete. Mine's actually complete, but you'll see there's usually a bar at the top that will say, 3 out of 4 steps completed or 4 out of 5. And LinkedIn will walk you through what does need to be completed. So whether it's putting in a headline, adding an About Me section, putting in your recent job opportunities or your recent job placements that you had previously at your former employers, you're going to want to put that in there. I will say try to stay up to date as much as possible. I've seen some folks that put present at a job that they're currently not at, and that's usually the first thing recruiters will ask you when they call you. Hey, are you still with this company? And they're looking at your LinkedIn profile and or resume to make sure it matches up with the time frame you were there. So, and if you are not at a current opportunity and you're looking, I would definitely make that a big headline, open for new opportunities, a future CISO officer at big corporation, whatever it might be, put down that you're looking for an opportunity. And another cool thing is when you're on LinkedIn, if you put your open for opportunities, I'm sure you guys have seen it, the little banner will pop up that will say open for new roles. All right, so let's get into the fun stuff. Let's see, where did they put it? Okay, I just took it off the other day. I'm looking for, let's see if this is in my way. Let's do featured. Oh, not there. Just give me 1 second. I'm looking for where to put the open opportunities because I just took it out the other day. I actually see it right here. Add the section, finding a new job. Here we go. Okay, I took it off and I'm going to show you guys why I took it off because I've been getting a lot of opportunities lately. And full disclaimer, I do have a full-time job that I absolutely love, so I wasn't looking for any roles right now, but I'm going to show you how to attract that new job. Okay, so in here, you can fit up to, I believe it's 5. Yeah, 5 different titles. So let's just do, and actually, I know some of you guys are in the IT field, so let's do that. So let's do IT manager. We're gonna do, I feel like computer programmer. Let's see what else is in IT. IT consultant, director of IT. So these are gonna be job roles that you're looking for. because recruiters are going to be looking, or even hiring managers are going to be looking for these specific titles. Let's do analysts. I think I'm out of spots. Yep. So you got 5 right here. And then you can do as much locations as you want. If you're open for remote work, you click remote work here. But wherever you're looking for a job at, so Miami and Fort Lauderdale do have kind of a demographic. But you can look into different areas. And then you can also put, if you're immediately active looking for work, or if you're casually browsing, if you click down here, if you want all LinkedIn members to know that you're looking for an opportunity, this is where the green banner pops up that says open for work. If you just want to keep it private and not alert everyone in your network, you're going to want to do recruiters only. So this is going to be key, especially if you're at an employer now and you don't want them to know you're actually looking for a job, because this will alert folks in your network. Okay, so this is pretty cool. You do add to profile, right? Once you're finished, I'm going to discard mine. But once you save yours, depending on what your features are, LinkedIn's going to start trying to find you opportunities and reaching out to those that are posting. So you'll see some in your newsfeed like I have, or you'll see some in your DMs, which is pretty cool. So I want to show you guys some of the opportunities that I've been receiving. So one of the reasons why I turned off, and you'll see here, in-mail roles, right? I haven't responded to this person yet. I usually do. I will eventually. And so these are opportunities that will come up in your DMs for these roles. And if you just scroll down, sometimes you'll be able to see, if it says in-mail, you know it's a new gig coming up. Sometimes, let me see if there was a new gig in here. I do receive some that aren't new gigs. They're more cold calling from recruiters, which is pretty cool. But I do definitely get new opportunities all the time. Here's another in-mail. Here's a young lady I'm actually connected with. So she doesn't have an in-mail, I don't believe. This might have been an in-mail. So she reached out to me for this opportunity. So you'll see why I did take off a lot of these. Why I did take off that feature, because I have been receiving a ton. I do pass on opportunities if I know of anyone that's interested in looking. But I also did want to show you guys, I had one guy in here. Yeah, so there is some folks that do reach out. So this is cold calling. And they'll reach out, it's almost a little bit spammy, but they will reach out just to do that one-on-one connection. It's kind of like a biz-to-biz networking event, just trying to establish those connections with folks and do some of that hard selling. So this one was pretty calm, but there has been some that I've been receiving that are, I would say, a little bit more aggressive. So just be cautious of those when you do make those connections. And I want to leave time for questions. I'm just looking at the chat. Okay. I keep thinking the closed captions are the chat, but it's not. Does anybody have any questions?
Karlene, actually, I do. How much time do you recommend that each person devotes, or that they should devote to LinkedIn? A week, I'm sorry.
That is a great question. And I was actually going to save this for the end, but we're right at the tail end right now. So if you guys have not already signed up for the email subscriptions, send me a LinkedIn message. Well, connect with me first and send me a message with your email so I can reach out to you guys with kind of the checklist. So I made this just for you guys because I love this group. It's a LinkedIn breakdown. So great question, Monica. So with this, I provide kind of a daily and a weekly checklist on LinkedIn. I will say if you can get on there daily, do it. But if you can't, I totally understand. Think of LinkedIn as the same way you check your emails. So as frequently as you check your emails, whether it's every other day or every day, we should be checking emails, or even your social media channels like Facebook, just have LinkedIn kind of playing in the background if you can. But scroll down at least, I would say, a good 15 minutes every day. Just start with that. Because a lot of these social platforms want to take up as much time as possible. So you don't want to just, scroll on it a lot. But I will say if you are looking for a job opportunity and you're kind of in that limbo stage, definitely try to be in LinkedIn at least, I would say, between 1 to 2 hours a week. Well, on a daily basis, at least try to check in for 15 minutes. So you're going to come on here and like any comments, like or comment on any recent connection content that you see in the news feed, right? If you see anything that you have opinions about, definitely either share them on the post or just use your discretion with them. Scope out any different job opportunities, reply to all DMs for sure, especially if you have any of those in mail from recruiters and you are actively looking, reply to all those, please. Even if you aren't looking, try to reply and say, thank you, I'm not currently looking right now. Just so you can save that message. So in the event you are looking for an opportunity, you can go back to that recruiter and see if there's any job opportunities at that time. Keep up to date with your work history, and also ask for any recommendations. So if you have any former employees that you worked with, or even, I actually have a few. I wanted to scroll down. So on my profile, you'll see I have a few skills endorsed. So you can take the skill quiz, or you can just add your skills in here. And then you can ask any of your colleagues that you're connected with to endorse you. But then also start sending recommendations and giving recommendations. So you can click on the Ask Recommendations tab and see if there's anyone you're connected with to see if you know someone that can give you a recommendation, right? Alex, my sister. And you can just put, whatever the relationship may be here. And then if it's a job opportunity that you have, and then you just hit next, and then it sends it to that person. And then see if, when you ask for a recommendation, see if there's someone you can give a recommendation to as well. So I have a few in here. Oh, I have a couple requests pending. So that's what that checklist is for. And then the best practices, engaging, making those connections, posting your professional milestones, sharing any relevant industry content that you either see in a newsletter or on another social channel that you follow. And then I also want to talk about the LinkedIn plans. So what's on the free versus the pro version. And then there's also LinkedIn Business and there's LinkedIn Recruiter. So a LinkedIn Business would be kind of like what I have for Social Blessings. Social Blessings has its own LinkedIn account. But then if I'm a recruiter, that's on the back end. You have to have a business account. They work hand in hand together. It's kind of like Facebook. If you want a Facebook business profile, it has to be connected to a personal Facebook page. So remember that if you're trying to do a business account, but for the recruiter side, you do have to have a business profile established already. The business is free. If you guys do have your own kind of like small business or service-based business, the recruiter platform you do have to pay for, and then the pro version you have to pay for as well. And then I kind of have the source hyperlink so you guys can see the different price plans. And then I also wanted to say if anybody wants to get some more one-on-one time with me, to have them have me take a personal look together on Zoom, we share screens, into your LinkedIn profile and see how we can jazz it up and refresh it and go step by step. I do offer one-on-one consulting sessions. So once you guys receive this, this will be at the end. You guys can click to book directly on my calendar based on my availability, and we can get together and meet and go over your goals and your vision. So I just wanted to make sure, Monica, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Karlene.
You're welcome. Okay, chat.
Karlene, did you see Joffrey's question in the chat? I'm happy to read it out loud too for the recording.
Yeah, sure.
So when you click like on someone's post, does it go to only your connections or to the connections of the person who wrote that post? Good question.
That is a great question. So it's going to be both. So if you're a person that writes a post, it's going to show on your newsfeed to your connections, depending on what time they do come on LinkedIn. So your connections will be able to see your exact post. Also, kind of the format I showed where you can click on recent activities for a particular profile, it'll appear there as well. Now, on the flip side, if you see a post that someone shares for a person you're not connected with, and you'll see that a person liked it that you are connected with, that'll show up on your profile as well. So it is twofold. So yes, to answer your question. But that was a great question.
Hi, Karlene. I have a question.
Yes. Cheyenne, is it?
Yes. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for providing the space and doing this. My question is, so I have a few different like targeted resumes that I send to different job postings. So I'm wondering, like, for my LinkedIn profile, how do I don't really know how to ask the question now, but how do I do that? Do I make it as general as possible on LinkedIn, or what?
So you have, yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Just so I understand your question, you have two different resumes or CVs that you send out, or do you want to post that?
Yes, I have about 3 different ones that I send out based on the job description.
Okay, but they're all in the same career, the same career.
Yeah. I just tailor the verbiage, I guess, and the actual experience that I put in.
Perfect. No, I love that. So what I would recommend is if you have kind of a general portfolio that you can share on LinkedIn, I would put it in your featured section. Your featured section, let me see, I think you only get 3. So you can post either links or media here. So if you have kind of like a PowerPoint presentation or even a PDF of your portfolio, or maybe your CV, like your high CV that you want to share on here, you can definitely add it. If there's 2 different resumes or CVs you want to share, you can do that. I would just recommend that the title of them be very specific to what you're looking for. So like you see, I have here the title, Social Business Website. You can put, CV for like an IT job, or CV for a security officer position. So that's what I recommend, just to kind of make it visible on your LinkedIn profile. But I would try to hone in and see, it's great that you're branching out and putting as much fillers out there as possible for the different roles and opportunities. But if you have one that is top of mind, I would try to focus on that first and add that to be featured on your profile. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So I see Raphael's question. The chat. Okay. He said, can you elaborate more on how to approach recommendations, as it can seem awkward in doing so, along with how to reach out to individuals that you have not recently worked or collaborated with? Love that question, Raphael. Okay, so I would only reach out to recommendations that you have a good relationship with. I definitely agree it can be awkward, especially if you were to leave a role or position abruptly. So a lot of my recommendations are actually from my former colleagues that I've worked directly with. I even have a recommendation from a board I was sitting on for a non-for-profit. I asked the board director to write a recommendation for. So any type of groups you're a part of, I even have another one in there as well from a young professional organization that I was heavily involved with in Broward County. And I was the lead for the volunteer committee for almost 3 years. So I asked the president of that organization to write a recommendation for me on LinkedIn. So if you have that personal relationship, I would either first send a nice friendly email, or you can reach out directly on LinkedIn. And or I was doing this very heavily in the pandemic. I would have Zoom dates with pretty much anybody because I was bored. But I'd have coffee dates in the morning at 8, or I would call it happy hour in the evenings. And if there was a coworker that I knew was struggling, I used to work in the cruise industry. So a lot of my buddies there did unfortunately lose their jobs. So I would connect with them one-on-one and see how I can help them in their journey. And for most of those, I did write LinkedIn recommendations for. So it's really good to keep those connections, never burn your bridges. And yeah, so that's my recommendation on how to approach the connections. So I'm sorry, for the recommendations. Now for the connections, I would, and let me show you. So here's one thing I would do, right? So I know you guys are in the IT field, so we'll do, or some of you guys are, but we'll do IT recruiter, right? So there is some people, there's groups, and there's also jobs. I would definitely recommend people first. So you're going to see the top ones pop up here. And these are, you'll see in here, the summary, right? Your little bio or your summary bio on your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that's completed. So this person has it in here. So she's kind of in the top, right? Then I also see someone in here has a current role as an IT recruiter. And then we're also connected to a few folks here. So they will pop up as well. The cool thing is you can also filter this by locations and company if you want, but when you do have these roles in here, what I would do is either send them a message, or like when you click to connect, it'll ask if you know these persons. You can just add a quick note here and then put your note in, right? So let me do one for my industry. Okay, so this is the young lady that, let's see if I can find a recruiter. Okay, so she's a recruiter here. Let's see, so I'll probably go to her profile. Again, look through the profile, see if this person is real first. I love to look at kind of their featured content. Cheyenne, this is kind of what I was saying about, you can put, looks like you can put 4 or 5 in here. Just drop them in and then make the titles in them. So this is great content for this young lady here. Now I do look at their activities, just kind of seeing what they're up to, and just make sure like they're not posting, I would say, anything that's awkward or offensive. There has been times where I've looked at managers for a job. Like at the minute I either reach out to a recruiter and they tell me, hey, this job is for, say, Microsoft. I'm looking to see who I'm interviewing with on LinkedIn. And then I kind of look at their activity and just kind of see like, who's the person that I'll potentially be working with. And I've seen some crazy things on here, especially during the election. So it's very important to kind of just vet through and see what folks are liking, commenting on. Like you'll see that this isn't her post, but she did like it, right? So you'll see certain things and just kind of glance through. You don't have to read all of them, but just glance through and see who these folks are, right? So if they look safe, you hit the connect button, add a little note, and you can just say, you know, hello. And so, just be friendly with it. Make sure it's personalized so it doesn't sound like a robot. And then you send it up. So we'll see, we can see and double check in here if these folks are real or not. So, and you also get a few in here. You get your connections in here. You get the pending ones as well. So it's really awesome. I see those connections coming in. Keep them coming, guys. I should have, let me see, 12 people in here. I should have at least 5 new connections that I know some of you guys have connected with already. All right.
Amazing. I'm actually connecting with you right now, Karlene. And I will drop my LinkedIn in the chat as well to see if anybody wants to connect, learn more about getting involved with Tech Hub. And if you guys just have any questions about South Florida in general, or just our ecosystem or job connections. So
I actually did not do that. So let me do that too. Perfect. Oh, thanks, Monica. I dropped my profile link in there too.
Awesome. Well, it's 12, so it looks like it's time to close the session. And Karlene, I appreciate you and being here. And we're also recording this. So if anybody has any questions or wants to see this again, we will be sending it your way and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. But anyways, Karlene, if you want to close this out, and if anyone just wants to say anything, feel free to do so as well.
Yeah, no, sure. Again, connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me your guys' email so I can send you guys kind of that follow-up checklist. So I think it'll be very helpful. And then if you already sent your email to sign up for the event and opted in for those, I'll definitely follow up there as well. And yeah, send you guys some awesome resources just to kind of stay in touch.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you later at the rest of our events for today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Karlene and Monica. I was just going to remind everybody, I think our next session is at 1 o'clock.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome. We'll see everybody there. Thanks so much.
One.
Thanks.